yourself. Hearing a lot of background noise. Yeah. So you can type in the Google that Postman download, and you can go and select the first option, right? And there is the Postman app. Uh, the Postman is also the Chrome extension. We can also, use the Chrome extension. Go to the setting, and go to the extension. You can see the Postman is one of the extension in the Chrome, right? So you can also use that, but I would recommend to use the Postman app, right? So click on download the app and you can install, right? So let me share the link in the group, so you can, if you are facing the,
Why we
yeah,
use the app? Why we don't use the download the software?
download the,
Like,
ma'am,
are
it's
are
up to
you?
you, ma'am. In the market, we have like app is also available. Extension is also available. But the app is more user friendly. If your version gets changed, so sometime you also face the issue in the extension, right?
No, no, I'm
So
not. I'm not downloading. I already download the uh like download the app on my on my MacBook, but I am not using extension like a Chrome extension or something like that.
yeah, no problem. It's up to you which you are going to use actually. So I would recommend that you can use the app software, right? So it could be good for you. You can also use the extension. It's up to you. There are two ways to do the same thing. Okay. So let's get started.
आज हम क्या करने वाले हैं?
Sorry. Give me a second, guys. My screen get freeze. Give me a second. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can see your screen.
Yes. Okay. So in this class, we will learn. We are going to learn that what are the methods we are going to use in APIs, in REST API, right? And we'll see how we can connect with the database, what is the difference between the methods, right? And what is the status code, means overview, right? Not in detail. In future classes we'll discuss in detail, but for now we will learn in deep what did you mean by the methods, right? And yeah, let me start. So let me remind earlier classes. So I have explained you what is the web services. Web service is also known as API, right? API is application programming interface, basically, right? It is method of communication between the two device and the application, and enable the communication between the application over the web. And it is platform independent, which I have already explained you in detail, right? So this is the diagram for that. So this is the service provider. Service provider will implement or develop the application and make available over the internet, right? The medium we are using is HTTP and format is XML, JSON or HTML, right? So there are two types of the web services. SOAP web
Tushar,
services.
we studied twice from last 2 days. We were studying that.
Yeah, I know, but most of the person are also doing for the interview purpose, right? So I'm just reminding the things so that you can't forget the thing. It will take 1 or 2 minutes to remind all the things,
Okay.
right? So the SOAP web services and RESTful web services, right? So in the SOAP, simple object access protocol, and medium is HTTP, format is XML, and REST is representational state transfer, medium is HTTP, and we are using multiple methods: post, get, put, and delete. The format is XML and the JSON and the text, right? So regarding the SOAP, we'll discuss in detail in coming classes. For now, we'll discuss only the RESTful web services, because it looks like simple and you can easily understand. When I switch to the SOAP, then SOAP will also easy for you. So that's why I'm going to discuss the REST for now, right? So in the rest, we discuss about the uniform interface, resource URL, and the HTTP, right? So you can see here, yesterday we have taken the example of make my trip, right? So HTTP is the protocol, right? You can see hypertext transfer protocol. And after the www.com make my trip up to .com is the resource, sorry, base URL, right? After the first slash, this is the resource, right? Query parameter after the question mark, that is the query parameter. Base URL, base URL means protocol plus sorry, let me change here, my bad. So host URL is protocol plus base URL, right? This www is about communication between the client and server, right? So in yesterday classes, I have explained you about HTTP request and the response. So basically HTTP, what he is doing, he is making the communication between client and server by HTTP request and HTTP response, right? Now come to the method. What are the method we are using in the API, in REST API testing, right? So we are majorly using post, get, put, patch, and delete, right? So this is known as a CRUD operation, CRUD, CRUD. So C means create, right? R means read, that is get method, right? U means update, U means update, D means delete, that is the CRUD operation. So in your project, if your project owner or your team lead or your developer asking to you that this particular feature is we have to also do the CRUD operation, CRUD operation. So you don't have to confuse what did you mean by the CRUD operation. The CRUD operation is simple: create, read, update, and delete the data. So for that particular feature, you have to do this 4 operation, right? So I believe everyone installed the Postman, right? So let's come here. In the Postman, you can see this is the UI of the Postman, right? So here you can see the collection in the left hand side, collection, and here you can see environment. So collection and the environment, these two are very, very important in the Postman to do the API testing, to do the RESTful API testing, right? Collection means it is it store all the modules section which you are going to implement. So all the modules, all the feature, all the requirements will comes under your collection, right? So guys, could you mute yourself? Someone is not muted. Yeah. So that is the collection. It contains all the requirement, all the module, all the features, all the functionality we are putting inside the collection. Now how we can create the collection? So you can see here there is plus icon, right? If you click on the plus icon, the new window get open, right? So here you can add the collection name, add the collection name. So I'm giving the collection name as API collection, API collection, right? Test, API collection and test, and click outside. So you can see after clicking outside, it get added. You can see API collection test. Guys, could you mute yourself? Some of the person has not joined. Let me call him. Give me a second. Give me a second, guys. Yeah. Guys, Ekanta, so could you please mute yourself? Like hearing a lot of background noise from your side. Yeah. So the collection get created, right? Now, if you click on the expand icon, you can see add a request. Add a request. You can click on that, and you can see here you can add your request. Request means request is the making the communication between the client and server. What you are trying to do, we have to do through the request, right? So this is the get request, get data. Suppose I given the request name as get data, right? And here you can see we have multiple method, right? If you are trying to fetch the data from the database, in that case you have to use the get method, right? If you are trying to update the data and create the data, then you have to use the post method, right? If you are trying to update the data, then you have to use put method, right? If you are again trying to update, you have to use patch. If you are trying to delete, you have to use the delete method. So let's discuss one by one with example so that you have the clear picture. So let me start my server first.
Hello Vikas, Bhavna here. I couldn't see your screen. I joined again, but I'm unable to see your screen.
You can't see my screen?
No.
There might
Mm,
be issue at your end, Bhavna, because we are able to see the screen. Yeah.
Okay, let me join it again.
yeah, you can rejoin. Yeah. Yeah. So, where I, yeah, let me start my server. Mm, Yeah, I will explain you how you can create this server, right? For now, just understand this is my database where I can do the CRUD operation, right? So I have started my server, and let me so this is my request, right? So this thing is clear for you, this URL thing, right? Now let me, when I click on send, when I click on send, data get fetched. Whatever the data which belongs to person resource, which belongs to person resource all the data get fat. So let me open my database first and let me explain you what are the things contained in my database. So this is my db.json database. So let me open this data. So this is my database, right? In my database, let me open JSON editor. JSON editor is where you can edit your JSON format. This is my JSON format, right? So tell me, in this JSON data, I have used two resources, person resource and the income resource. I have used two resources, person and the income, right? So I am trying to fetch the person data. So let's forget this all the stuff. I will explain you in detail.
So, we can't hear you.
You are mute.
Somebody has muted Vikas, I think.
Certainly. Now you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is my database, right? So db.json file, right? This contain the two data, two resource, person resource and the income resource, right? Inside the person resource, I have added multiple property, right? I will explain you how we can create this property. So do not worry about it. I will explain you all the things. Only now
Yeah,
under,
yeah, because sorry
sorry.
to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you here. So this is a person resource and the income resource. In short term, you can say that person and income is nothing, but in terms of DB, it's a table, right? And that first name and everything, it's a column where we have value. If we talk in
Exactly.
terms
You
of
can say as a,
data,
in,
like
if you talk about, so
yeah,
this is one
in
table
terms of
and this is the another table, right? And this
yeah,
table contain this data.
these are the columns which have values, right?
Exactly. Right.
Okay.
But in your database, in the web service, this looks like that one, right? So we have two resources. Now I want to fetch the person resource, right? Now what I will do, I will pass the person resource here. My base URL would be the same, my host URL. When I click on send, all the data which is inside the database, which belongs to person resource, will get fetched. Now I want to fetch the income resource. So what I need to do here, I need to pass the income, right? And let me call. So you can see all the income data get fetched. So you can see, if you go here, you can see there is only two object, right? So that all object get fetched, right? So this is the use of get method to connect with the server and fetch the data based on the resource, what resource you are passing, right? It will fetch the data. Clear? No doubts?
Hi Vikas. So here the both the persons and the incomes details are written. We can see, I guess, in the body.
Sorry, come again.
My question is, first of all, you fetched the person's data, and after that incomes. So currently both are present here, right? I mean, it's not overlapping.
No,
They are just adding.
if you are passing the person, it will fetch only person data in your
Okay.
response. If you are
Okay.
passing income, it will
Okay.
pass, it will fetch only income object, not
Okay.
the whole thing. Then what the
Got it.
meanings of adding the
Uh-huh.
filtration?
I mean, the previous data will not be available.
No, no, no,
in
no.
the result.
No,
Okay,
no, no,
got it.
no,
Okay, so
no.
thanks.
Right. So this is all about the get. So using control S, you can save. So let's suppose this is not saved. You can see as a orange dot here at the top. Right. This means that your request is not saved inside your collection. Right. If I click on close, it will say you do not save or save the changes. Right. So you can click on save changes. If you don't want to save, click on don't save. So parallelly, I will also try to explain the Postman feature along the API concept. Right. So I am not explaining in one flow because it will get collapsed. So day by day, I will explain all the things. Right. So you can click on save changes. All the things will get saved inside that particular collection. Right. So otherwise, you can also do the keyword control S. So you can see the dotted orange icon no more displayed here, right? So it means that your collection gets saved. If I click on close, it get closed. It will not give you the pop-up. Right. Now let me create the post object. So how do I create the object? I need to select the post method, the first thing. Right. Now I want to create the person object. Right. I want to dump the data. I want to dump the person data, right? So let me copy the one person data from here. Let me copy the one person data from here. I have copied the person data and go and select body and raw and click on JSON. So have you noticed this thing? If I am using the get method, right, it not required to pass the body. I have not selected the body and the raw, and then I have to pass body. So when you are fetching the data, it not required to pass the body, depends on your requirement. So we don't have to pass the body, right? But you have seen in the case of post method, I have selected body and then raw, and then I have passed the properties, keys and values, and then selected the which format I want to send my data. I want to send my data using the JSON format. For now, only understand this is the JSON format. I will explain you what did you mean by JSON, each and everything, right? Just understand this is the JSON format, right? I have selected the JSON. Now to connect with the server, I have to also pass the URL, right? So let me copy the URL and paste it here, right? So this is my host URL and this is my resource. I want to create the object inside the person object using the post method, right? So let me change the name here and pass as a let me take one name. I'm going to take the name Ansari. Okay, I have taken the name as a Ansari, right? And I'm passing the email ID as Ansari, right? And I have changed the. Do not worry about how you have created this properties, right? I will explain you. First, understand the method. So let me change the number 99999. This is the number, right? Now let me call and let me remove the ID. Let me call. So you can see status is 201. In the API testing, status is very important. Status will explain you data is created or not, or it returning the error message or not, right? So 20 series. 20 series is the successful status. 200, 201, 204. Right. So this is the successful status. So in the case of creating the person, I am getting 201. Right. So you can see data get displayed here. So now you have to also cross check. You have created your data, but you are also doing the cross check. How you are doing the cross check in the UI side? By again login, or try to download the stuff, your data get downloaded or not, right? So what I need to do here, I need to, let me change the name here, post person, right? And save. How do you are downloading the data? Using the get method, right? So let me call, you can see here data get fetched, but you can see there are multiple data. Whatever the data inside the person object, that all the data get fetched. But how you can identify, you have to copy this thing and you have to cross. I will, yeah, you can see here data get fetched. Whatever the data I have passed here, you can see it get fetched. So have you noticed one thing? After creating the data, database provide the unique ID. That is in the case of my 21, right? So it providing the unique ID. Have you seen that whenever you are going to the bank and you are opening the account, the bank employee giving you the unique ID, the unique thing. Whenever you again come to bank, so the bank employee easily identify your account. The same situation is here. Whenever data get created into the database, right? So database will provide the unique ID, right? Using that unique ID, you can do the operation. You can fetch the data, you can delete the data, you can update the data, right? That I will explain you, right? So this unique ID is provided by your database, right? So
So,
here you can see
sorry to
in the
interrupt
get
you,
call.
Vikas.
Yeah.
We have to use this unique ID only to do the update or something, or we can use another unique means phone number or something as well.
No, this unique ID is provided by your database. Actually,
Right.
this unique ID you are not providing in your request. This unique ID is provided by your database actually. So it's depend on the requirement. Whatever the, what are the unique, that's the different concept, right?
But we
That is
can
the
do right
different.
by taking any
Yeah,
unique
you can
value
do,
from
you
here.
can do,
Okay.
but this thing is provided
Like
by your database. Yeah.
Abhinash, जैसे in post we can update the existing data, right? If I want to do some changes in the data we have stored, like in Ansari, so we have to use ID 21 and we can change like address from old Delhi to new Delhi. तो उसके लिए हमें ID ही use करना पड़ेगा post में अगर
एग्जैक्ट,
update करना होगा.
पोस्ट में आप कर सकते हो आईडी आप पास करके यहाँ पे
Okay,
बॉडी
okay,
में हम आईडी पास करते हैं और हम इसको अपडेट कर सकते हैं, ठीक है? अभी मैं
okay,
इसको यहाँ पे अपडेट नहीं कर सकता हूँ क्योंकि ये जो डाटाबेस है ये एट सच मच मीन्स डिज़ाइन नहीं किया हुआ है प्रॉपरली, राइट? सो
okay,
इट विल गिव मी द डुप्लीकेट एरर मैसेज. So
okay.
it's depend on the company requirement, how they are designed.
Hmm.
Vikas,
Yeah,
hello.
yeah.
What was her question? Because I'm not getting in that Hindi.
Her question was like
Ah,
after creating the data, we
okay.
get the unique ID, right? So using that unique ID, can we update the data in post method?
So what was the answer?
Yes, we can do that. If you pass that particular ID in the request body along with the other data, we can update the data. But the condition is how your REST service is designed. Some of the companies, some of the web service does not support this one. They could not allow the post method to update your data. They allow only create the data. But in my project, I can also update the data using the post method by using the unique ID. Right?
Because, hello, because
Yeah, yeah.
this this ID it is created from application or from the Postman application,
No,
Postman
no.
tool
This ID is created by your database when by your
application.
server.
Okay,
Yeah, because you are connecting with the server, you are saving the data to the server, and server after creating the data it providing you one ID. This is your unique ID. So when you come to the next time you can easily identify your data.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
so let's move
Because
further. You can,
one
yeah, yeah,
more
yeah.
question. Let's say for post method, like if I want to update only the, let's say, date of birth, okay. So I have to pass the all parameters like first name, last name, or I can pass only ID that is unique and date of birth. So I can pass
Sir,
only two values.
sorry to interrupt you. Let me explain all the method because you are getting confused, all the person, right? So first, let me explain all the methods, and then you have query. Then please ask to me,
Okay.
right? Because lot of things I have to explain, right? So which give all the answer, right?
Okay.
So let me explain, right? So this thing is clear for you. Why we are using the post method, right? Now come to the, and one more thing, in if you select the body and raw, this is known as the request. Request means where you can pass your data. When we sending to the server and getting the response, this is known as the response. This one. So request which we sending to the server, response which we are getting from the response, right? So two different things. This is the request and this is the response, right? Remaining thing I will explain you further, right? Only understand this thing. This is the request and this is the response which we are getting from the server. Now move to the, now I went to the bank and I opened my account successfully. My account is created successfully. I also cross check my account by downloading the stuff and I can see my account is successfully get created. I am very happy, right? Now after some days I realized that I want to update my data. I want to update my data. So I have to use the patch method. I have to use patch method. So what I am do, I want to update my person data, right? So to update the patch method, I my ID is what? 21. My ID is 21. So I need to pass ID as 21 here in the URL. So it's also depend on the company requirement. You, some of the company they are passing inside the body, the ID passing inside the body, right, inside your request. Some of the company they are passing in the URL, they are using in the URL, right? Some of the passing inside the body, right? So do not get confused, like in my company they are passing inside the body but you are doing in the URL. So do not get confused, it's all depends on the requirements how they are using, right? Now I want to, after some days I realized that I have given the wrong email ID, not wrong email ID, let's suppose wrong You can take wrong mobile number. I have given wrong mobile number, right? So what I will do, I will take this number, I will copy this number and go and select the body and raw and pass the number and select the JSON. Now, my correct phone number is 888. Now, when I click on send, so it will connect with the server and asking to the server, hey server, please go to the person resource. Please go to the person resource and find the 21 ID whose person ID is 21. Go and find that particular person and change the phone number of that person. Right? So let me call. You can see here mobile phone number get changed. And you can see ID is also same because I have not created the new data. I have updated the existing data. So ID is same. Right?
Vikas,
When I, yeah,
sorry to interrupt you. How that response will understand that 21 is the ID? This might be age as well, right? If you pass person age 21, so there will be kind of confusion in request.
no, it's also depends on the requirement. Actually, I will explain you how we map our requirement,
Okay.
how the requirements is looks like. Right? Suppose your requirement is you have to pass the only ID here. If you
Mhm.
pass only ID here, so let's suppose I have not passed the ID here. I am passing some invalid value which are not exist in the requirement or which are not part of the requirement. So in that case, let's see what happened. You can see 404 not found, right? So the
Hmm.
id which I have passed is not exist in your database. If server could not find that thing in your database, then it will return the client error. 40 series is known as a client error. So this is the client client error.
So
404 not
my
found.
question was,
So
if I
you,
pass person
you
age,
can
we have person age 21 and we have
Mhm.
ID as well as 21, both, right? 21. So in that scenario, if we pass ID in response in this request, then will it get ambiguity kind of error, or it will
No,
take that
no.
number as a
It
ID
will
itself?
No, because your requirement is your project requirement is for this particular API, we have to pass the ID, right? But you are passing the correct ID. Doesn't matter there is some same data with this number. Doesn't matter. But if this ID get matched in your database with the ID, then it will get fetched. It will not return any ambiguity things.
Okay.
because if you write Ansari there, what will it? I mean, what will be the response?
Again, I am asking. If ID is not valid, it will return you 404. Ansari is not your ID, right? Ansari is not your
Then
ID.
It's
how
value,
that
right?
validation is done? I mean, it should consider only ID. There are many fields in that
Ma'am, again,
particular.
I am asking. It's all depends on the requirement. I am just taking as an example. I'm just again asking. It's all depends on the requirements. How the requirements comes to your project, how they are implemented. For now, I'm explaining about the ID. If your requirements say you have to you have to update the data based on the last name, based on the first name, then you can do it. But you can tell me multiple person have the same name. Suppose my name is Vikas, some other person name is also Vikas, some other person name is also Vikas. So based on the Vikas, how you can update your data, how the server can identify, because with the same name we have multiple data, right? So server will get confused. Server will get confused, right? So in the real time we are using only ID, unique ID, to update the data, to find out that particular object.
Yeah, because we understand. We just update the data based on the unique ID. And that is the database structure design.
Exactly. So database, because that you need, so let's suppose you have created an account, bank account, right? The banker give you the application ID to you, right? When next time after 4 days you are going to the bank, you are giving your name as a Vikas, right? So is banker can identify you?
Banker is not identified. Banker is only identified by the account number. So that was the
Exactly.
unique.
Exactly. The same situation is here.
Because so can we consider after the person's resource we can write the unique ID only?
Sorry, come again.
Yeah, so can we consider after the person's resource in the URL we can write only the unique ID?
Mm, after the person you can write, yeah, you can
Uh,
write the unique ID. So
only
suppose
unique
if you,
ID.
yeah, unique ID that provided by your server, right? And you can also apply the query parameter. So along with your unique ID, if you want to use some other filtration, right? So you can also use the query parameter. I will explain you, sir, each and everything. So don't worry, like what are the probability you can rectify your data, how you can update your data basically, right? So yeah, so have you let me, where I was, it's 21, I guess 21 batch data, yeah. So let me again update this call with 77. So you can see here phone number, so data get updated, right? Now your question, let me check this data. So this data successfully get updated in your database or not. So what I need to do, I need to call the get API to cross check. So let me check that particular ID. My ID was 21, and go and check phone number get updated. Right now your question would be, can we pass some other data? I also want to update some other data along with the phone number, right? So yes, you can do that. So let's suppose you want to change the date of birth. I'm going to pass the date of birth, right? I want to change my um, let's suppose surname, right? So I'm putting my surname as a PR and date of birth as a, right? And let me update. So you can see here in the patch call, in the response, data get updated. And where is the date of birth, right? And where is your I have updated surname also, yeah. So to cross check this thing, let me call get data call. You can see here for the ID 21, for the ID 21, you can see here Where is the surname? Yeah, ER, right? And where is your date of birth? Right. So basically ID is used, to identify the particular person. This is the, when we are going to the office, right? Our ID is unique. So if ask your name, they can't identify. I don't know the Vikas Kumar Shah, right? So you have to, when you swipe your card, you have to show the ID number. So they only identify the number. Database only identify the number. After then they will allow you to go inside your office, right? So if in the real time also, if you are trying to delete any data, if you are trying to update any data, so you have to pass the particular ID for that person, for that particular object. After then database can understand, right? If you are passing some invalid data, so database could not understand and it will return the error message, 404 or 400. It depends on the requirements. So I will explain you that one. First let's understand only the method for now. Right now, patch we have seen to update the data. Patch version. So right now I want to use, if I click on this plus icon, this will add one more request, right? So I want to update my data, so there is one more option, put, right? So again I am updating my data for that particular person. So what I need to use, I have to use the same ID. If you want to use some other ID, you can use whatever the data you want to delete, but it should be valid. Right now,
Vikash, what it says when you just, what is the difference between put and patch? Because both are using for update, isn't it?
ma'am, first explain me the things. I have not completed my things.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm using put method, right? If after explaining you can easily understand, then you can say me what is the difference. I will ask this question to you, right? So let me, if I am passing the body, I have to select body and then raw, and then I have to pass the body, right? So let me, I want to update the phone number, date of field and surname, right? And let me, and this should be the JSON, right? Now I am trying to update my data and using the put method. So keep the eye on the response. Where other data gone? My first name, my email ID, my address, where it gone?
Because you just updated only those ones.
But in the case of patch, I have updated only those one. Why it not happen with the patch method? I can see all the things here. Even the things which I have not passed, I can see in the response.
So
But
No,
in,
in we could say in patch we the server provide us the response with all the properties like first name, second name, and the updated one. But if we want to get response for the only particular updated field, so we could use put method.
so let me explain. Basically what happened in the case of put, if you want to replace your data with new data, right? Suppose my whole object was this thing, first name, last name, prefix, and up to ID. These all are my object, right? But in the case of put, what happen if I'm passing phone number, date, it will replace all the data except this one. Okay, when I call this get method to verify the data, you can see only 3 property will get displayed here. So it means like it get override with your new data. The existing data get override with your new data. Now the question is, I also want to retain the old data. How you can achieve? In that case, you have to pass all the property and then you can update. Now you can update your phone number, right? So if I send, so you can see all the properties are in the response. If I call, get call, you can see all the property get displayed. Right, now you tell me what is the difference. I think I have explained myself.
I didn't get you properly.
Okay, let
मुझे
me
आपकी
again.
बात नहीं समझ आई.
Okay, uh, what did you understand by patch method?
Patch method, I understand that it overrides the data. Whatever has been written, it overrides it.
It's override the whole object or particular property
Because
value.
whatever we're passing the body, it's going to override only those values.
Override the those particular
Those,
property value.
yes, only like अभी आप इस पे देख लो, आप इसमें फोन नंबर दे रहे हो, डेट ऑफ बर्थ दे रहे हो और सरनेम दे रहे हो, तो जो
Yes,
भी जो आपने बॉडी पास की है, रिक्वेस्ट बॉडी, रिस्पांस बॉडी जो हम आएगी, उसमें सिर्फ यही वैल्यूज ओवरराइड होंगी.
exactly right. Even if you are not passing the other value, it will not get removed from your database, right?
Why it could be removed? हम तो उसको नहीं कर रहे ना, वो तो वैसे ही रहेंगी.
वैसे रहेगा, but in the case of put, it get removed. If you are not passing the other value, then it will get removed from your database.
तो इट मींस इट यूजिंग, ये हमें डिलीट के लिए हम यूज कर रहे हैं पुट, यानी बाकी सारी वैल्यू
ये
रिमूव हो जाएंगी.
डिलीट नहीं हो रहा है, आपका ऑब्जेक्ट डिलीट नहीं हो रही है. Your object not get deleted, it's get override with new data.
ओके,
The
मुझे
whole
समझ,
object get override,
अभी
ये
जैसे
not
मैं,
one
ओके
particular
वो,
It is
property.
kind of delete and
Hi
replace
Vikas.
thing.
Hi Vikas. Correct me if my understanding is correct. Put method will use to modify the complete record, and the patch will do the modification, partial modification. Means we have, suppose we have in person we have around 10% name, and we have country name for all the persons. So if we wanted to update the country name in one go for all the person, then we'll use put method, and we have to update specific person country name, then we have to use patch method, right?
Yeah, right. In the
Yes.
case of patch, it will update your data, it will not replace your data, replace with new data, right? In the case of put, it will replace the whole data with the new property.
नहीं, होल डाटा का क्या मतलब हुआ? आपने आप
Means all the
21,
person record. It's not for single person. It
Yeah,
will
it's
update for the all
entire
the person.
record will be replaced.
Okay,
It
So the
is
so
patch
let
method it
me
will do
explain
only for
again.
specific person.
मैं क्या,
no, तो the Vikash is passing that value on the 21, जो यूनिक आईडी पास कर रहे हैं, तो वो तो खाली उसी के ऊपर होना चाहिए ना.
let's see madam, I have only passed the phone number, right,
राइट,
for the 21%, right?
राइट.
So what happened in the database for the 21 ID, we have first name, prefix, surname, birth surname, email ID, and some other property as well, right?
Right.
So when I am passing the phone number here, so your data, it will override the all the data, it will replace your whole object and place the new things, let's suppose you can take as a some A, B, C, D is one property. This one is one property, right? This is not your part of your database. This property you have added newly, and let me call. So you can see whole thing get replaced.
यानी ये वैल्यू ने पूरे वाओ
Because her question is, we are using id as a 21, so it should replace this only for 21, not for all the records.
हाँ तो
Yeah,
उसने
not all the
replacing
records.
only
It's only
21
for
only.
that particular object.
Yes,
और तो उस 21 के उस सारे इस 21% के
के लिए ही कर
सारी वैल्यूज को उसने रिप्लेस कर दिया
Exactly,
इस
exactly. With this new property. But
तो ये
ये
कब
particular object को delete नहीं कर रहा है. Be remember, it is still in the database. If I call the get API, it is still in the database. You can see, but with the new properties and values. Clear?
या तो फिर ये जो है पुट में है पैच में क्या होगा
Patch में doesn't matter you are passing the other property or not. Only that particular property will get updated.
ओके
Not replaced the all things, the whole object. In the case of put, it will replace whole object with the new property.
आप इसकी कोई एग्जांपल देंगे लाइक रियल टाइम एग्जांपल व्हाई वी यूज द पुट
The same thing I am explaining to you. Where you have the docs actually.